What does it mean to be a warrior? Is it the size of your muscles or the weight of the metals around your neck? Or is it something deeper, a quiet, burning refusal to stay down when life tries to pin you to the table? Today, we look at a life that serves as a blueprint for every person who feels like they are at their breaking point. We are talking about the no limits philosophy, a mindset forged in the clandestine world of special operations and refined on the professional arm wrestling stage. This is not just a story about a sport. It is a case study in human resilience and the pursuit of excellence against all odds. The roots of the grind. Every legend has a beginning, often one that seems humble to the outside world. For some, the fire starts in a gym. For others, it starts at a kitchen table. Our subject's journey began as a teenager in Victoria, British Columbia. He was a high-energy kid, obsessed with the idea that strength was the defining characteristic of a man. He grew up identifying strength with being a protector, a provider, and a force to be reckoned with. But the true spark didn't come from a world-class coach. It came from his grandmother. She was a farm worker in Alberta, a woman who claimed to be the best arm wrestler in the province. She became his first technical mentor and his most consistent opponent. Think about that. The man who would one day be considered the greatest in history could not, for the longest time, beat his own grandmother at the table. This taught him the first lesson of a warrior, humility. It taught him that power isn't just about raw size, it's about the grit of a person who has spent their life working the land. As he moved into his late teens, he took that raw energy to the oil fields of Western Canada. Imagine the scene. Groups of physically imposing, hardened laborers, men who spent their days doing grueling manual work. He would take them all on, often remaining undefeated in these underground matches. This was his testing ground. He was refining a specialized technical toolkit long before the world knew his name. He was learning to read the stress levels and physical tremors of his opponents, a skill that would later become his greatest weapon, table intelligence, the crucible of service. At 21, the path shifted. He didn't just want to be strong, he wanted to serve. He joined the Canadian Armed Forces, eventually finding himself in the most elite and secretive military machine, Joint Task Force 2, JTF-2. This is Canada's National Mission Force, the unit responsible for the most dangerous counterterrorism and hostage rescue operations. For 16 years, he lived a double life, an elite soldier by day and a developing international athlete by night. That all the lessons of the battlefield have a corresponding discipline on the field of play. He argued that as a soldier, physicality is your shield. The more fit you are, the more armor you have when the real bullets start to fly. But in 2005, those bullets became a reality. He was wounded in action, taking shrapnel to his hand and sustaining gunshot wounds. For most, a hand injury would be the end of an arm wrestling career. For a warrior, it was merely a transition. He rehabbed. He returned to competition just a year later in 2006. He stated that those matches were his favorite, not because they were easy, but because they proved he could overcome the uncertainty of his own survival. He had developed a war mindset, a state of hyper-readiness and tactical adaptability that allowed him to navigate the most hostile environments on Earth, breaking the unbreakable. By 2008, he was ready to challenge the status quo of the sporting world. He faced a man who was widely considered the greatest of all time, a legend who had not lost a super match in 25 years. The world expected a routine victory for the reigning king. Instead, they witnessed a changing of the guard. He didn't just win, he swept the legend 6-0. How did he do it? It wasn't just through bicep curls. It was through a relentless work ethic and the ability to switch strategies mid-match to exploit an opponent's weakness. By 2010, he achieved something unique. He was ranked the first arm wrestler in both the right-handed and left-handed divisions simultaneously. He was the man to beat, a true giant in the sport. But the life of a warrior is rarely a straight line of victories. The accumulated stress of 16 years in special operations and over a decade at the top of the arm wrestling world took its toll. In 2013, he reached a breaking point. His elbows were a mess. Professionals and doctors told him he was done, that he could never be a world champion again. He underwent surgery on both elbows. This is the moment where most people quit. They accept the expert opinion and fade away. But his response was simple. You never quit. You never quit. He pivoted. He focused on his recovery. He rededicated himself to strength training with a focus on structural integrity. He returned to peak form in 2016, reclaiming his titles and proving that a warrior's spirit is not defined by their injuries, but by their comeback, the Anaconda philosophy. What makes this man different? It is his technical evolution. He doesn't rely on explosive, raw power to end a match in seconds. Instead, he uses endurance, structural integrity, and psychological manipulation. He often uses a maneuver known as the Devon press, applying constant, grinding pressure against his opponent's wrist and bicep. He drains them. He waits for the failure in their structural integrity, and only then does he secure the pin. He is like an anaconda. He stays close to his opponent, extracting their soul bit by bit until they have nothing left in the tank. This requires an incredibly high training frequency, 3 to 4 sessions every single day, focused exclusively on the movements of the arm and hand. He abandoned general gym training for anatomical specialization, focusing on the 3 locks: pronation, rising, and cupping. He understands that simplicity is how you win. You win on the first step, not the fourth. By keeping his goals attainable and in line with his spirit, he has managed to become the oldest heavyweight champion in the history of the sport. At nearly 50 years old, he continues to compete against men half his age, men who are mutants of strength and size, facing the Hulk. Even a warrior meets their match. In recent years, he faced a powerhouse known as the Georgian Hulk, a man with singular, overwhelming power that had never been seen before. In their first encounter in 2022, he was swept 6-0 and sustained a significant bicep injury. Again, the critics said it was over, but he didn't hide. He didn't make excuses. He came back for a rematch in 2024, entering the arena in what many considered his best physical condition ever. He gave everything. He managed to put the Hulk in an uncomfortable position in the first round, showing that even the unbeatable can be threatened. Although he eventually lost the match 4-0, he was gracious in defeat. He simply stated, "He is incredible. I wasn't lying when I said that I was at my best. I do believe I brought my best." That is the mark of a true warrior. It's not about never losing. It's about having the courage to face the ultimate challenge and knowing you left it all on the table. After that loss, he didn't retire. He pivoted again, exploring lighter weight classes where his technical mastery and endurance could continue to shine. He continues to push the sport into the mainstream, using his digital presence to share his journey with millions. The shield of the warrior. Why does he do it? Why subject himself to the strain, the surgeries, and the potential for embarrassment? He does it because he loves it. He believes that life is a gift, and our job is to find the things that make us happy. He was attracted to the fight, and arm wrestling gave him the release he needed to navigate the complexities of his military and personal life. He encourages everyone to find an outlet for their energy. He believes that every skill you bring to the table, whether it's playing the piano or learning a language, is a value that could one day help you succeed on your mission. He advocates for physical fitness as a form of mental preparedness. He has lived through catastrophic injuries and life-threatening medical conditions like deep vein thrombosis. Yet, 5 months after being diagnosed with a pulmonary embolism, he was back in Dubai, defeating top-ranked opponents in dramatic fashion. This is the no limits philosophy in action. It is the refusal to let circumstances dictate your destination.